We still have 1 year to go in this cycle. So it's very well possible, or at least not impossible, that we'll have a triple top cycle this time. So every cycle saw one big bull market, one big all-time high. Right now we saw two double tops, all-time high. But we could, theoretically, in this cycle,
Even though master traders like Gareth are still going bearish on Bitcoin despite its recent pump, others are making different price predictions and showing through new charts that Bitcoin is about to change, and its price is still increasing. One of them is PlanB. PlanB is known in the crypto community for his work on the stock-to-flow model for Bitcoin. This model predicts the future price of Bitcoin based on the scarcity of the asset, which is determined by its production rate and total supply. And even though his work has been criticized in the community, some people believe this model is on point with what's coming. In today's video, we will update you with his latest analysis, where he goes through 4 charts to show what's happening with Bitcoin's price in the future. So pay close attention until the end. First, let's have a quick look at the S&P 500 comparative chart.
Now stocks bottomed here in October already, and Bitcoin bottomed a little later in November. So there's a little lag. It seems that the stock market is leading the Bitcoin market, which would be logical because the stock market is, well, I think about 20 times, or maybe more, about 200 times bigger than Bitcoin. So, and we see in earlier days that same lagging period. So in 2011, there was a dip in the stock market, and then a bottom, and a later bottom in Bitcoin. Same in 2018. There was a bottom already here in the stock market, and later in the Bitcoin market. So there is this lag. And in my opinion, the Bitcoin has some catching up to do with the general stock market. And the implied Bitcoin price from that stock market is about 55K.
Next, PlanB goes through his famous stock-to-flow chart, which gives a clear view of Bitcoin's direction soon.
As you know, stock-to-flow measures scarcity. It's about the 21 million Bitcoin cap. There cannot and never be more than 21 million Bitcoins. Not even one Bitcoin for every millionaire in the world. It's really scarce. And this model uses that stock-to-flow ratio, of course, to model the Bitcoin value. And well, one important thing to notice is that value is different from price. So the gray line is the model value, and the color dots are the Bitcoin price. And price is different from value. It can be below the value line, like now. It can be above the value line. In the bull markets, and well, that's in fact what the error is pointing out. So the error, is the Bitcoin price divided by the stock-to-flow model. So right now the Bitcoin price is about 20, and the Bitcoin stock-to-flow model value is about 60. So 20 divided by 60 is 0.3, and that's what this value is. And for example, if we go to the all-time high in 2013, the price was 1,000, and the Bitcoin value, or stock-to-flow model value, was about 100. So that's a 10x above the model value. So it can be below, it can be above. That's not a problem. If the Bitcoin is below the model value, the chances that the next dot is also below the model value is very high. It's not like the error value is random noise and you don't know what the next dot will be, where it will be. There is some serial correlation. This dot depends on that dot, depends on that dot, etc. Now, that means the model is misspecified. It gets worse when you do, because it's a monthly model, when you do daily models, because you introduce more serial correlation, because the main signal, of course, in this stock-to-flow model is the halving, and there's only 3 of them, And in between the halvings, not much happens on stock to flow. And of course, a lot happens with the price. So there's several reasons there can be serial correlation, and this misspecification of the model can be easily fixed. And one of the reasons is that the sampling is wrong. So we can go, and that's what I did at the time, to less sampling. For example, yearly sampling. And that will fix not all, but most of the serial correlation problem. Another issue is that we're just missing variables. And that, of course, is very true. I mean, stock to flow is certainly not the only variable that explains the Bitcoin price. There's macroeconomy, there is interest rates, there's demand that's not in the model. This is a pure supply side model. So there's all sorts of variables missing.
And this is a fundamental chart, the Bitcoin profit chart, that shows the price versus the profit percentage on bull and bear markets. This chart also helps predict where prices are heading from now on when combined with the other three charts.
It's Bitcoin in profit. We see the date on the x-axis, the price of Bitcoin on the y-axis as usual, and then on the color overlay, the percentage of Bitcoin in profit. And it can be 100% in the bull markets, and at the top of the bull markets especially. And it can be as low as 60% or actually 50% in the bear markets. And I made the cutoff point at 60% because it shows better the patterns that are in those signals. Now, we're looking at the on-chain Bitcoins. It's all the 19.3 on-chain Bitcoins, no paper Bitcoins, so no Bitcoins on exchanges, which are basically IOUs, and no Bitcoins in derivative instruments like futures and options. Only on-chain real Bitcoin. Now, what we see, and it's very important, is that the percentage of Bitcoin in profit flipped from 50% to 72%. It already did that in January, but February continues that signal. And we can look up in earlier periods like 2011, it did the same thing. It flipped from blue to green, from like 50-60% to 70-80% profit. Same in 2015, 2019. So this is a very important signal, and what it basically means is that all the buyers from 2021 at 40, 50, 60K, they're basically gone, and they have sold to buyers below 20K. Those new buyers, those 5.5 million Bitcoins, are now in profit. And I remember very well when I made my first Bitcoin investment and made my first profit, even if it's only 10 or 20%, which is an easy 10 or 20%, which cannot be easily made in other assets. When I made those profits, I thought, well, that was nice. I want to do that again with some more money. So this is a very interesting phenomena, and it's also irreversible, by the way, because those people are gone. Those are the new ones, and it will not go back to this position. So it's very one-way street. What we're waiting for is 85% yellow, because that means that even the few buyers in 2021 at 55, 50 and 60 and even 69K, that those buyers are gone as well. It's clear skies from there, and when we see yellow, the FOMO will probably kick in.
Going back to the stock to flow, now we can understand what the next cycle will be.
We still have 1 year to go in this cycle, so it's very well possible, or at least not impossible, that we'll have a triple top cycle this time. So every cycle saw one big bull market, one big all-time high. Right now we saw two double tops, all-time high. But we could, theoretically, in this cycle, still go above the stock to flow model and above the 69K all-time high, and that would make it a triple top cycle. So not ruling that out, time will tell. Very interesting time ahead. And one of the first models is actually the time model. And the time model is a light blue line. Is the first one I know is the 2014 model of Trololo. And that's pretty accurate model. It's sort of adoption based, like adoption of Bitcoin will come with time, and so the increase in price with time will go with that. And the first models were like logarithmic regressions. I made a power law variant of that, and this is the formula. If you take the year, for example, this is the first year, so you put a 1 here, and you do that to the power of 6, and then times 0.003, then you get this value, and the same for the second year, third year, etc., etc. And it gives this very nice smooth line that you also can extend into the future, which makes it a perfect prediction model. Now, the stock to flow, we talked about this. It's also a power law model. In fact, all the models that are shown in this chart are power law models. The famous formula is 0.4 times the stock to flow ratio, which is 57 right now, to the power 3. And that gives the dark blue line. You'll notice that the dark blue line gives roughly the same estimates as the time model. But it adds one thing. It adds the importance of the halving as a cause of the price increase. So it points out that the price increase of Bitcoin is always around the halving, after the halving, and in that sense it adds something to the time model.
And finally, the difficulty chart mixes them all for better analysis.
And there is the UTXO model. UTXO model is, based on transactions. Every transaction splits a current Bitcoin or an unspent transaction output into 2 or more unspent transaction outputs. So it's the transaction will have the amount that you'll want to send. It will have a cash rest amount, so the amount that is sent to your own wallet again, and it will have a fee for the miner. So usually it's sent to more than one UTXO. So every transaction increases the number of UTXOs, and that makes it also like the time model, an adoption proxy. It's the green line. And then the last model is difficulty. Difficulty is based on the hash rate of Bitcoin, which is set every approximately 2 weeks. And that difficulty, of course, is the security of the network. And security of the network is, if that increases the value of the network as well. And the higher the hash rate, the more miners there are, or the better hardware than the time model and the stock to flow model. So what the future will bring, I don't know. I do expect the Bitcoin price to go to make a reversal back to the stock to flow and the time model levels. But we can also see the hash rate going up, increasing dramatically. I wouldn't be surprised at all if that happens. So we'll track those. For sure, the models have stayed close together, especially in 2011, 2013, and 2017. Coincidentally, also the all-time highs of the bull market at those times. But the models can also be very much apart from each other, like 2012 and 15 and right now. So, that makes it very exciting what the future will bring. Again, I think the Bitcoin price will reverse back to the stock to flow and time model values of around 100,000 or even after the halving, more than 100,000, between 100,000 and a million.
Do you agree with PlanB's chart analysis? Do they make sense to you? Let us know in the comments below, and please check his channel in the description. He gives a ton of value to the community, but it's still underrated. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time for more Daily Crypto.